Burning out teachers and students is something that schools should avoid, like duh, right? Avoiding the bad outcome of students and teachers being disengaged should be obvious. Bad outcomes like that are what pushes us to improve, but being pushed into change can also lead to the very burnout that we need to avoid. My name is Don Berg. I'm the Executive Director of Deeper Learning Advocates. This video is about what schools should become, which is not as obvious as what schools should be avoiding. What positive vision can pull schools in the right direction. At Deeper Learning Advocates, we suggest that K-12 schools should be striving toward becoming joyful places where enthusiastic students are taught by passionate teachers. Joy, enthusiasm, and passion are important because they are symptoms of deeper learning. Here's the premise of our proposal. The K-12 system is made up of people. It's a human system. Human systems have one characteristic that makes them different from all other kinds of systems. That characteristic is that humans enact cultural stories, even when we don't realize it. When we change the cultural story in a human system, we change the system's behavior. Here's the idea. Changing cultural stories within an organization requires both bottom-up activists and top-down policy makers. Changes are initially undermined by folks sticking to the old story at the top, the bottom, and everywhere in between, until we reach critical mass. Critical mass means that so many people are getting on board that the prevailing norms are changing, and most people most of the time are going to be acting according to the new norms, not the old ones. From the bottom up, we spread a news story about schools that helps students and teachers create those local pockets of good schooling that result in deeper learning. Teachers figure out how to teach passionately in a sustainable way. Everyone works together on figuring out how to maintain their enthusiasm for learning, and they collaborate as a community on expressing their collective joy. The news story should be based on making sure all learners are fully engaged whenever they participate in instructional activities. We need to make sure every diploma, grade, and test score accurately reflects an appropriate degree of mastery, not just a bunch of hoops that got jumped through. This bottom-up part is already happening in a variety of ways in public, private, and charter schools, but it's not very well organized. There are some schools that claim the mantle of deeper learning, according to Joel Maida and Sarah Fine's book, In Search of Deeper Learning. Even in those schools, there are pockets of the old ways. And they also notice that in mainstream schools, where they may not even know what deeper learning means, there are nonetheless pockets of deeper learning. In another recent exploration of innovation throughout the American school system, Ted Dintersmith visited schools in all 50 states. In his book, What Schools Could Be, he reports how impressed he was by the same phenomena. The fact is that there is great stuff happening in classrooms everywhere. But it's equally true that the great stuff does not have enough coherence to have the transformative effect that is needed. That is why we need to create top-down inputs in the form of a policy framework that can put engagement data in a position to guide collective behavior towards a positive vision. When the top-down flow of engagement data reaches the bottom-up pockets of good schooling, then the real magic will happen because the good stuff that creates deeper learning will get the boost it needs to reach that critical mass for transforming the story of school. My book, More Joy, More Genius, includes my suggestion for a policy framework to do just that. During this process, all the other usual problems with schools will continue to be problematic. But once we get on the right track regarding engagement, we will end up with more of the energy, enthusiasm, and creativity that we will need to address those problems too. Deeper learning will be the norm when schools are joyful places where passionate teachers teach enthusiastic students. In order to get there, we need to embed the psychology of learning in policy. Specifically, we need to make sure that policy reflects the fact that deeper learning only happens when learners are fully engaged. Visit dladvocates.org for more information. Thanks for watching.